So we have a new image we've opened in Photoshop and we're continuing with the crop tool. So make sure you're on the crop tool. You have this little option right here that says straighten. This is incredibly useful if you tend to shoot things a little bit crooked. Okay, so I'm click on the straighten tool and all you do is basically just drag a point and drag across what you think is the correct horizon. It will automatically straighten the image for you, keeping it as big as possible within the parameters. Now, you can still go through and do further edits here and kind of change the composition exactly the way that you like for the image. You're not sort of locked into this particular format, but if you go beyond the levels, it'll just add a white space in the background and you'll have to basically add that with Smart Fill. So if you want to just crop to the image that you created, then you can just do that by, kind of easily kind of making these adjustments and working within the frame that you shot. So once you have an image that you think is overall straightened and a good compromise, double click and it will apply the crop. Now notice I cropped on the background layer here. If I don't like the crop that I've made, right, and I save this as such, I can't go back and change it unless I'm making this as a new copy. So in general, I think it's a good idea to do what we did in the last video, which is to make a copy of our background layer. Go ahead and right-click this, convert this to a smart object. If I'm doing something as simple as this, I may not go to all of the effort, but it's just a good idea in terms of your workflow to work in this way. So if you do, want to kind of go back and have your original retained in the same file, just so you can kind of see, for example, what you've done, that's a way of working with this. So now that I've done, straightening, I can kind of crop it. I can see that this is an editable window. If I'm on the crop tool and I go back, it will bring back exactly where I left, which is a useful way of working. If I go to save this, if I go to File, oops, apply the crop first. If I go to File and I go to Save As, right, it's reminding me again that the document can't be saved as a JPEG without losing information, which I realize. So right now it's going to default to making this a PSD document. I'll go ahead and press save and it's going to make a PSD version of this file. So this is a good place to start with doing some basic image editing. The next thing we're going to do is go to doing some more involved transformations of images. So let's click on an image that just needs some adjustment. Go ahead and open this image up. So within the crop tool, you have a couple different options. You also have this tool called perspective crop, which is an incredibly useful tool. So basically you just drag over the entire image, just sort of drag your cursor over the whole image. And then if you just kind of pull this down a little bit, right? You decide you just didn't like the way that you shot this and you pull this area down. Once I double click on this, it's going to go ahead and do some straightening. If it wasn't quite correct, I didn't go quite far enough on that one, I'm going to go ahead with this bottom and just pull it just a little bit up. In fact, I think in general, to eliminate that area entirely where we just see the grass might be a stronger version of the crop. So once you have a version of this, you can see that it automatically straightened the image. And it is just as easy to do this in Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom. It's, there's not necessarily a bad way of working with perspective crop. They're totally capable of doing it in all programs, but here's how you would do it in this particular program. Now, notice we didn't go through that process of making a background copy, making a new layer, and making that layer into a smart object. So we won't be able to edit this after we're done. So just to see where we had before, you can see this was shot just a little bit crooked. You're able to straighten it pretty well right here just by using this little sub tool in the crop tool, the perspective crop tool.